Hi there, my name is Julia and I am taking a stab at translating company operations for freelancers. So if you are a freelancer or if you've been thinking about starting something on the side, this video might be for you. What I'd like to talk about today is the first 6 steps that you'd have to take to start as a sole proprietor. In my last video, we talked about the different types of company structure, and in my personal suggestion is that if you're starting your side gig by yourself and you don't really have your idea proven yet, your concept proven, especially if you haven't made any money, if you haven't made a sale, I would strongly consider starting as a sole proprietor. Today, we'll be talking about what are the first steps for you to actually do that. Here are the first main and 6 steps that I took for my sole proprietorship, and I believe you should take as well. The first thing that you have to consider is, okay, you have this business idea, you have your either service or a physical thing that you'll be selling. And the question is, do you want to operate under your legal name or under a company business name? What's the difference? Me, for example, one of my businesses is consulting. I sell my hour and I help clients to create operations for their businesses, to operationalize their businesses. I operate under my legal name, Julia Schwan. I have a friend who is a creative designer. She designs like websites and presentations for clients. She chose to operate under a company name. The company name is Charisma. She filed for a DBA, a doing business as. So coming back to our screen here, if you decide to operate under your name, no action needed, you can go to step 2. If you say, hey, I really don't want to use my name for this, I would prefer operating under a DBA, you'd have to file a DBA request within the state that you are operating. How will you do this? Every state is going to be different, so I'm going to give you the tools to go research in your state. I just moved to Minnesota, so I would just open Google, look for DBA state Minnesota. You will find sponsored ads and services for companies who offer that service to you. They could register a DBA for you. Even if you do want to go that route and you do want to spend the money and pay someone to do it for you, I highly recommend you going into the official website of your state and checking the rules. 1, because you might see that it's easier than you think and you can file yourself. 2, you have to be able to manage the person who you are hiring to make sure they're doing a good job. So even if you do choose to hire someone, which you can do, I would go into the Secretary of State. So this is the Office of the Minnesota Secretary of State, and here they have a blurb about assumed name or DBA, and they have a whole explanation. So who must file the name, any person conducting a business under a different name, a corporation, a limited liability, a partnership. And why do they require this? Why do they want you to file a DBA? It's because they want transparency. If you're selling something under Charisma, which is my friend's business, they want to know who's behind that for transparency, for the client, for yourself, for the government. So here they have a PDF that you would complete and file with the state. Some states you can file online, some states you can mail, and some states also have additional instructions, and you will find specific state instructions for your state on how to complete the request and the form and how to file it, and what else in addition to submitting this request is required of you. For example, in the state of Minnesota, and some other states would also have that, some states don't have that, you have to check. After filing, you need to publish your DBA for 2 consecutive issues in the legal notice sections of a qualified newspaper. Extremely outdated, I know, it is what it is, and it costs $25. If you go back to the website, you'd see that they also have a request for you to cancel. There's an annual renewal and how you'll renew that, what is the fee, and the cost. In the state of Minnesota, that is $25. Going back here as a summary for the first one, you have pretty much 2 options. You can choose to operate under your legal name, and you can say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to file for a DBA. You will look at your state website, where you're operating, where you're living, what are the rules, what do you have to do to file, how you're gonna file, how much it costs, and what additional requirements exist. An example is filing in a newspaper newspaper. Another example, it's what is the renewal for that? Do you have to renew every year? Do you renew every 2 years? What is the cost? And then you can compare if it's worth filing, if the cost is too great for you. In this case, it's 25 bucks, so you probably can do it. Or if you prefer to pay and hire someone to do that on your behalf, that's also an option that you have available to you if you really don't have time. But as we saw, this is a pretty simple and straightforward process. I am confident that you could do it. And this is the first step. We will move into the second step. Also, I have a personal goal of keeping these videos under 15 minutes. I just think that it gets really boring after 15, and who would want to watch me for over 15 minutes? So once we hit that mark in whatever step we are, I'm gonna pause and then continue in a separate video. Okay, so step number 2, do you need a license to operate? The great majority of sole proprietors won't need a license to operate. However, depending on what you are doing, so what is your business, what is your service, what's the activity that you're conducting, and your state, local, city, federal rules, you might need a license. And again, you will check if you do or not on your city, state, and federal website. Those are cases of people who generally already need a license to operate regardless. Examples are doctors, CPAs, lawyers, construction workers. If you sell alcohol, if selling alcohol is part of your business, those are pretty standard rules for those professions, those activities that you need a license to operate. But regardless, you're gonna go check. So let's open Google again. And I'm gonna type state of Minnesota licenses for business. Here, it explains what are business licenses and permits, why do you need it. All kinds of businesses operate in Minnesota with no special permission, so it's just assuring you that not everyone will need that, but others are closely regulated. So here on your state website, you would understand if you do need a license to operate, and here it says like find out in this link, so you can click the link, and it offers the options for you to browse by topic. So I think this is a good example to show you. So here you can go by section actually. So you can go into businesses and you'd see what are the types of businesses that will require a license in the state of Minnesota. And if you do need a local or state license in the state of Minnesota, you can check if you need a federal license as well. So for adult care, for example, if you are working with adult care, you might need one of those licenses. If you are in alcohol, what I mentioned before, and you want a beer license, those are all the types of licenses that you can get in the state of Minnesota, and you need to be able to operate selling beer. If we go into healthcare, again, doctors, healthcare, pharmacies, we can go into just professionals. So if you work in construction, building professionals, if you're a plumber, if you're a contractor, if you need a certified pipe layer, if you're a financial professional, if you are a healthcare professional. But you'd see that those are all types of businesses that if you are in that industry, you probably already expect to need a license. People like my friend Isa, who owns a sole proprietorship that does design. People like me who are selling my services online, and I'm not advising them accounting wise, I'm not a CPA, I am just sharing my experience. If you are a video editor, a motion graphics designer, all those types of services, you will likely not need a license. But regardless, that's the number 2 and you should check for it. Let's go to point number 3 now. Point number 3 is, do you need a business email? You might say like, really no, like I just want to make sure this takes off the ground. I don't know if I'm gonna make money yet. I don't want to spend the money into buying a new Gmail for myself. Or you might think it's just too complicated, which I totally get it. Or you might say like, you know what, it would be good for me to separate my personal email to this new business email that I'm creating. So in that way, I use Gmail. I think it's a great tool, and that's what I would recommend. So I'm gonna do that with you guys now. Let's go and you just Google like getting a business Gmail. Business name. So here you would choose your business name. If you chose not to file for a DBA, you can just choose a business name because Google is asking you to. Stick with the first question that you answer. Do I want to operate under my legal name? Do I want to operate under a business name? Therefore, I will get a DBA license. So in this case, let's just do Julia Schwan. Number of employees is just me, region, United States. Next, my first name, my last name. How do you want to set up your Google workspace? With a company.com address, with a gmail.com address. This will come in handy if you decide to reach out to vendors. Many websites won't let you fill that like standard questionnaire to reach out to a service, to reach out to a business. If you don't have an at yourcompany.com, they would identify as a gmail.com, which is just a personal email. So if you're really going with this and you want to separate, I would probably just suggest having yourcompany.com address for that reason. And sometimes it looks more professional as well. Does your business have a domain? So you would have to buy a domain. If you have it, you can write it here. So let's find a domain for your business. So I'm gonna try to do juliaschwan.com. Let's see if I have that option and it's available to you. So let me make sure I didn't misspell this. Next, you're gonna go and put your business information. So if you work from home, this is your home address. Next, username is gonna be Julia, password, and I'm not a robot. So this is the plan that Google is offering me. Cost $18 monthly if I go with the annual subscription, or $21 a month if I decide to go with the basic one. So as of now, you don't have a business credit card or bank account yet. You would probably include your personal credit card account and later get your company, your sole proprietorship, to reimburse you. So just you have your numbers squared away and you can decide to move forward with this. For the sake of the video, I'm gonna click on try free for 14 days. And then this is the business. This is the domain that I'm choosing. So it's $18 a year to have this domain. Account type, organization, my name, my address, personal contact, and here is asking for a card number. Okay, I don't want Gemini, so I'm gonna skip this. So once you pay for it and you get your subscription, this is what it's gonna show up for you. You can add team members if you work with someone, if you work with freelancers. As of now, I don't, so I'm just gonna keep this like this. I can configure everything in my admin section, set up my workspace. I don't want to do this now. Okay, so let's just mark it done. So you can actually do this all later if you go into your admin section, but if you click on Gmail. Okay, so here I am logging in. So I'm creating a profile in Chrome for this new email that I have. And I just typed my recently created julia@juliaschwan.com and my password, and my other business, it's in Brazil, so it's all in Portuguese in here, but it's just saying that I am the admin of the account. I'm gonna click next, yes, and then I'm just gonna choose a color. I'm gonna choose green for now. That is it. And then when you open Gmail, this is your brand new Gmail account that you can use for your business. And here on top, you can see this is my @JuliaSchwan, which in your case would be at your company name. And you can go into the admin section to add users, to look at your billing, to change your photo, to like actually manage this as a business account and not as your regular personal Gmail account. So going back, I am saying that I am on minute 25. So I am gonna cut this now. And my next video is going to be about the next 3 steps. So steps 4, 5, and 6 on how to start and set up the structure, meaning just like how to organize yourself to be successful as a sole proprietor. See you next time.